Chapter 11. Babel built, language confounded, generations of Shem. Abram is born, marries and goes into Canaan. And the whole earth was of the same language and of the same speech. And it came to pass that many journeyed from the east, and as they journeyed from the east, they found a plain in the land of Shinar, and dwelt there in the plain of Shinar. And they said to one another, Come, go to, let us make brick, and burn them thoroughly. And they had brick for stone, and they had slime for mortar. And they said, Come, go to, let us build a city, and a tower whose top will be high, nigh unto heaven. And let us make us a name, lest we be scattered abroad upon the face of the whole earth. And the Lord came down, beholding the city and the tower which the children of men were building. And the Lord said, Behold, the people are the same, and they all have the same language, and this tower they begin to build, and now nothing will be restrained from them, which they have imagined, except I, the Lord, confound their language, that they may not understand one another's speech. So I, the Lord, will scatter them abroad from thence upon all the face of the land, and unto every quarter of the earth. And they were confounded, and left off to build the city, and they hearkened not unto the Lord. Therefore it is the name of it called Babel, because the Lord was displeased with their works, and did there confound the language of all the earth. And from thence did the Lord scatter them abroad upon the face thereof. And these were the generations of Shem. And Shem, being 100 years old, begat Arphaxad 2 years after the flood. And Shem lived after he begat Arphaxad 500 years, and begat sons and daughters. And Arphaxad lived 35 years, and begat Salah. And Arphaxad lived after he begat Salah 403 years, and begat sons and daughters. And Salah lived 30 years, and begat Eber. And Salah lived after he begat Eber 403 years, and begat sons and daughters. And Eber lived 430 years, and begat Peleg. And Eber lived after he begat Peleg 430 years, and begat sons and daughters. Peleg lived 30 years, and begat Reu. And Peleg lived after he begat Reu 209 years, and begat sons and daughters. And Reu lived 32 years, and begat Serug. And Reu lived after he begat Serug 207 years, and begat sons and daughters. And Serug lived 30 years, and begat Nahor. And Serug lived after he begat Nahor 200 years, and begat sons and daughters. And Nahor lived 29 years, and begat Terah. And Nahor lived after he begat Terah 119 years, and begat sons and daughters. And Terah lived 70 years, and begat Abram, Nahor, and Haran. Now these were the generations of Terah. Terah begat Abram, Nahor, and Haran begat Lot. And Haran died before his father Terah in the land of his nativity, in Ur of the Chaldees. And Abram and Nahor took them wives, and the name of Abram's wife was Sarai, and the name of Nahor's wife Milcah, and the daughter of Haran, the father of Milcah, and the father of Iscah. But Sarai was barren, and she bare no child. And Terah took Abram his son, and Lot the son of Haran, his son's son, and Sarai his daughter-in-law, his son Abram's wife, and went forth with them from Ur of the Chaldees to go into the land of Canaan. And they came unto Haran and dwelt there. And the days of Terah were 205 years, and Terah died in Haran. Chapter 12. God's commandment and the covenant with Abram. Abram and Sarai go to Egypt. Now the Lord had said unto Abram, Get thee out of thy country, and from thy kindred, and from thy father's house, unto a land that I will show thee. And I will make of thee a great nation, and I will bless thee, and make thy name great, and thou shalt be a blessing. And I will bless them that bless thee, and curse them that curse thee. And in thee shall the families of the earth be blessed. So Abram departed as the Lord had spoken unto him, and Lot went with him. And Abram was 75 years old when he departed out of Haran. And Abram took Sarai his wife, and Lot his brother's son, and all their substance that they had gathered, and the souls that they had gotten in Haran, and they went forth to go into the land of Canaan. And into the land of Canaan they came. And Abram passed through the land unto the place of Sichem, and the plain of Moreh, and the Canaanites were then in the land. And the Lord appeared unto Abram, and said, Unto thy seed will I give this land. And there builded he an altar unto the Lord, who appeared unto him. And he removed from thence unto a mountain on the east of Bethel, and pitched his tent, leaving Bethel on the west, and Hai was on the east. And there he builded an altar unto the Lord, and called upon the name of the Lord. And Abram journeyed, going on still toward the south. And there was a famine in the land, and Abram went down into Egypt to sojourn there, for the famine became grievous in the land. And it came to pass, when he was come near to enter into Egypt, that he said unto Sarai his wife, Behold now, I know thee to be a fair woman to look upon. Therefore it shall come to pass, when the Egyptians shall see thee, they shall say, that they shall say, This is his wife, and they will kill me, but they will save thee alive. Say, I pray thee, unto them, I am his sister, that it may be well with me for thy sake, and my soul shall live because of thee. And it came to pass that when Abram was come into Egypt, the Egyptians beheld the woman, that she was very fair. The princes also of Pharaoh saw her, and commanded her to be brought before Pharaoh. And the woman was taken into Pharaoh's house. And he entreated Abram well for her sake. And he had sheep, and oxen, and he-asses, and men-servants, and maidservants, and she-asses, and camels. And the Lord plagued Pharaoh and his house with great plagues because of Sarai, Abram's wife. And Pharaoh called Abram and said, What hast thou done unto me in this thing? Why didst thou not tell me that she was thy wife? Why saidst thou, She is my sister, so I might have taken her unto me to wife? Now therefore, behold, I say unto thee, Take thy wife, and go thy way. And Pharaoh commanded men concerning him, and they sent him away, and his wife, and all that he had. Chapter 13. Abram settles in Canaan. Abram and Lot separate. Abram promised many descendants much land. And Abram went up out of Egypt, he and his wife, and all that he had, and Lot with him unto the south. And Abram was very rich in cattle, and silver, and in gold. And he went on his journey from the south even to Bethel, unto the place where his tent had been at the beginning, between Bethel and Hai, unto the place of the altar which he had made there at the first. And there Abram called on the name of the Lord. And Lot also went with Abram, had flocks and herds and tents. And the land was not able to bear them, that they might dwell together, for their substance was great, so that they could not dwell together. And there was a strife between the herdmen of Abram's cattle and the herdmen of Lot's cattle, that they could not dwell together. And the Canaanite and the Perizzite dwelt then in the land. And Abram said unto Lot, Let there be no strife, I pray thee, between me and thee, and between my herdmen and thy herdmen, for we are brethren. Is not the whole land before thee? Separate thyself, I pray thee, from me. If thou go to the left hand, then I will go to the right. If thou go to the right hand, then I will go to the left. And Lot lifted up his eyes, and beheld all the plain of Jordan, that it was well watered everywhere, before the Lord destroyed Sodom and Gomorrah, like as the garden of the Lord, like the land of Egypt. Then Lot chose him all the plain of Jordan. And Lot journeyed east, and they separated themselves, the one from the other. Abram dwelled in the land of Canaan, and Lot dwelt in the cities of the plain, and pitched his tent toward Sodom. But the men of Sodom, becoming sinners and exceedingly wicked before the Lord was angry with them. And the Lord said unto Abram, after that Lot was separated from him, Lift up now thine eyes, and look from the place where thou art, northward and southward, and eastward and westward, and remember the covenant which I make with thee, for it shall be an everlasting covenant. And thou shalt remember the days of Enoch thy father. For all the land which thou seest will I give thee, and to thy seed forever. And I will make thy seed as the dust of the earth, so that if a man can number the dust of the earth, thy seed shall also be numbered. Arise, walk through the land in the length of it and in the breadth of it, for I will give it unto thee. Then Abram removed his tent and came and dwelt in the plain of Mamre, which was in Hebron, and built there an altar unto the Lord. Chapter 14. War between kings. Abram rescues Lot. Melchizedek, the high priest, blesses Abram, serves him bread and wine, and receives Abram's tithes. And it came to pass in the days of Amraphel, king of Shinar, and Arioch, king of Elasar, and Chedorlaomer, king of Elam, and Tidal, king of nations, that these kings made war with Bera, king of Sodom, and with Bersha, king of Gomorrah, Shinab, king of Admah, and Shemeber, king of Zeboim, and the king of Bela, which is Zor. All these were joined together in the vale of Siddim, which is the Salt Sea. 12 years they served Chedorlaomer, and in the 13th year they rebelled. And in the 14th year came Chedorlaomer and the kings that were with him, and smote the Rephaims and Ashtaroth, Kernaim, and the Zuzims and Ham, and the Emims and Shavah Kirathim, and the Horites and the Mount Seir, unto El-Paran, which was by the wilderness. And they returned and came to Emishpat, where which is Kadesh, and smote all the country of the Amalekites, and also the Amorites, in Hazezontamar. And there went out the king of Sodom, and the king of Gomorrah, and the king of Admah, and the king of Zeboim, and the king of Bela, which is Zor. And they joined battle with them in the vale of Siddim, with Chedorlaomer, king of Elam, and with Tidal, king of nations, and Amraphel, king of Shinar, and Arioch, king of Elasar, 4 kings, with 5. And the vale of Siddim was filled with slime pits. And the kings of Sodom and Gomorrah fled and fell there. And they that remained fled to the mountain which was called Hannibal. And they took all the goods of Sodom and Gomorrah, and all their victuals, and went their way. And they took Lot, Abram's brother's son, who dwelt in Sodom, and his goods, and departed. And there came one that had escaped and told Abram, the Hebrew, the man of God, for he dwelt in the plain of Mamre, the Amorite, brother of Eshcol, and brother of Aner. And these were confederate with Abram. And when Abram heard that Lot his brother's son was taken captive, he armed his trained men, and they which were born in his own house 318, and pursued unto Dan. And he divided himself against them, he and his men by night, and he smote them, and pursued them unto Hobah, which was on the left hand of Damascus. And he brought back Lot, his brother's son, and all his goods, and the women also, and the people. And the king of Sodom also went out to meet him after his return from the slaughter of Chedorlaomer, and of the kings that were with him, at the valley of Sheva, which was the king's dale. And Melchizedek, king of Salem, brought forth bread and wine. And he brake bread, and blessed it, and he blessed the wine, he being the priest of the Most High God. And he gave to Abram, and he blessed him, and said, Blessed Abram, thou art a man of the Most High God, possessor of heaven and earth. And blessed is the name of the Most High God, which hath delivered thine enemies into thine hand. And Abram gave him tithes of all he had taken. And the king of Sodom said to Abram, Give me the persons, and take the goods to thyself. And Abram said to the king of Sodom, I have lifted up my hand unto the Lord, the Most High God, the possessor of heaven and earth, and have sworn that I will not take of thee from a thread even to a shoe latchet, and that I will not take anything that is thine, lest thou shouldest say, I have made Abram rich, save only that which the young men have eaten, and the portion of the men which went with me, Aner, Eshcol, and Mamre, let them take their portion. And Melchizedek lifted up his voice and blessed Abram. Now Melchizedek was a man of faith, who wrought righteousness, and when a child he feared God, and stopped the mouths of lions, and quenched the violence of fire. And thus having been approved of God, he was ordained a high priest after the order of the covenant which God made with Enoch, it being after the order of the Son of God, which order came not by man, nor the will of man, neither by father nor mother, neither by beginning of days nor end of years, but of God. And it was delivered unto men by the calling of his own voice, according to his own will, unto as many as believed on his name. For God having sworn unto Enoch, and unto his seed with an oath by himself, that every one being ordained after this order and calling should have power by faith to break mountains, to divide the seas, to dry up waters, to turn them out of their course, to put at defiance the armies of nations, to divide the earth, to break every band, to stand in the presence of God, to do all things according to his will, according to his command, subdue principalities and powers, and this by the will of the Son of God, which was from before the foundation of the world. And men having this faith, coming up unto this order of God, were translated up and taken up into heaven. And now Melchizedek was a priest of this order, therefore he obtained peace in Salem, and was called the Prince of Peace. And his people wrought righteousness, and obtained heaven, and sought for the city of Enoch, which God had before taken, separating it from the earth, having reserved it unto the latter days, or the end of the world. And hath said, and sworn with an oath, that the heavens and the earth should come together, and the sons of God should be tried so as by fire. And this Melchizedek, having thus established righteousness, was called the King of heaven by his people, or in other words, the King of peace. And he lifted up his voice, and he blessed Abram, being the high priest and the keeper of the storehouse of God, him whom God had appointed to receive tithes for the poor. Wherefore Abram paid unto him tithes of all that he had, of all the riches which he possessed, which God had given him more than that which he had need. And it came to pass that God blessed Abram, and gave unto him riches and honor and lands for an everlasting possession, according to the covenant which he had made, and according to the blessing wherewith Melchizedek had blessed him. Chapter 15. God covenants with Abram, Abram's vision, captivity in Egypt foretold. And it came to pass that after these things the word of the Lord came unto Abram in a vision, saying, Fear not, Abram, I will be thy shield, I will be thy exceeding great reward, and according to the blessings of my servant I will give unto thee. And Abram said, Lord God, what wilt thou give me, seeing I do go childless, and Eliezer of Damascus was made the steward of my house? And Abram said, Behold, to me thou hast given no seed, and lo, one born in my house is mine heir. And behold, the word of the Lord came unto him again, saying, This shall not be thine heir, but he that shall come forth out of thine own bowels shall be thine heir. And he brought forth abroad, and he said, Look now toward heaven, and tell the stars, if thou be able to number them. And he said unto him, So shall thy seed be. And Abram said, Lord God, how wilt thou give me this land for an everlasting inheritance? And the Lord said, Though thou wast dead, yet am I not able to give it to thee, not able to give it thee. And if thou shalt die, yet thou shalt possess it. For the day cometh that the Son of Man shall live. But how can he live if he be not dead? He must first be quickened. And it came to pass that Abram looked forth, and saw the days of the Son of Man, and was glad, and his soul found rest, and he believed in the Lord, and the Lord counted it unto him for righteousness. And the Lord said unto him, I, the Lord, brought thee out of Ur of the Chaldees, to give thee this land to inherit it. And Abram said, Lord, whereby shall I know that I shall inherit it? Yet he believed God. And the Lord said unto him, Take me a heifer of 3 years old, and a she-goat of 3 years old, and a ram of 3 years old, and a turtle dove, and a young pigeon. And he took unto him all these, and he divided them in the midst, and he laid each piece one against the other, but the birds divided he not. And when the fowls came down upon the carcasses, Abram drove them away. And when the sun was going down, a deep sleep fell upon Abram, and lo, a great horror of darkness fell upon him. And the Lord spake, and he said unto Abram, Know of a surety that thy seed shall be a stranger in the land which shall not be theirs, and shall serve strangers, and they shall be afflicted and serve them 400 years. And also that nation whom they shall serve will I judge, and afterwards shall they come out with great substance. And thou shalt die, and go to thy fathers in peace. Thou shalt be buried in a good old age. But in the 4th generation they shall come hither again, for the iniquity of the Amorites is not yet full. And it came to pass that when the sun went down and it was dark, behold, a smoking furnace and a burning lamp, which passed between those pieces which Abram had divided. And in that same day the Lord made a covenant with Abram, saying, Unto thy seed have I given this land, from the river of Egypt unto the great river Euphrates, the Kenites, and the Kenizzites, and the Cadmonites, and the Hittites, and the Perizzites, and the Rephaims, and the Amorites, and the Canaanites, and the Girgashites, and the Jebusites.